I'm saying that my wife can dance.
You're on.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Regular commission meeting, 7:00 p.m. Pledge of allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Jacobs is absent. Acting Clerk Commissioner Fishem.
Yes.
Clerk Commissioner Hodgkins.
Here.
Vice Mayor Morset.
Here.
Mayor Mohammed.
Here.
We have quorum.
Perfect. Are there any deletions or withdrawals to the agenda? Nope. Okay, then we will leave it at be. So number 5, presentation proclamation. So the first one is I have the certificates of appreciation here for the food giveaway. I'm going to save that for next month's workshop to give them out. And also the certificates of appreciation for the citizenship drive. So we'll have that on for next month. 5.2, budget finance director Brown.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor and Commission. Roy Brown, Budget and Finance Director.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ray.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening. Today I will go over the 2024 budget workshop presentation. So this evening we'll start with the 2024 budget development timeline, which will be the next slide. Then we'll go over property values and projected ad valorem revenue, general fund overview and assumptions, building fund overview, sewer and stormwater overview, community events, and priorities and challenges. Starting off with the timeline, going over a few important dates. June 1st was the first somewhat deadline, and that was the time for we received the preliminary tax roll from the property appraiser. At the last commission meeting on June 14th, we did tentatively approve a millage rate, and we did confirm the budget public hearing dates, which is September 13th at 6 p.m. and September 27th at 6 p.m. On July 1st, we received the certified tax roll from the property appraiser, and I was able to factor those numbers into the presentation that you have in front of you. July 12th, that is today, we're doing the budget workshop position to the commission. August 12th through the 24th, the tax notices will be mailed to homeowners. September 13th, that's the first budget hearing where we tentatively approve the millage rate again. And September 27th is the second budget public hearing where we finally adopt the millage rate and the budget. Next we have Town of Pembroke Park millage rate history. And sorry for the viewers online, it does show up a little weird there. But what it's showing is an 8.5 millage rate along the years. I believe for the last 8 years, the town has adopted an 8.5000 millage rate. And that is constant again. That will be proposed for fiscal year 2024. Here I have the millage rate scenarios. Here you see the baseline, which is the prior year. So for 2023, we're projected to collect 7.6 million, and our actuals are very, very close to that number. Option A, which proposes an 8.5 millage rate, which also shows a 9.97% growth in taxable value. At 100%, our ad valorem taxes will yield $8.8 million, and at the 95% that by law we have to budget for is $8.3 million. To be exact, $8,381,870. If we were to go back with the rollback rate, which is the rate that would generate the same amount of revenue as the prior year, That rollback rate would be 7.7293 mils. That will yield $8,023,033, $17 more than the prior year, but it's right on target. At 95%, it'll be 7.6 million. My next slide shows the ad valorem revenue history. In 2019, the general fund collected 5.7 million in ad valorem. 2020, 6.3 million. And fiscal year 2021, 6.9 million. In fiscal year 2022, 7 million. 23, 7.6 million. And for 2024, based on the 9.97% increase in taxable value, we're projected to bring in 8.3 million. Some of my budget highlights include a millage rate of 8.5 mils. I do have in this budget a $300,000 fund reserve, which has not been done in the last few years. I do have in there $180,000 for vehicle replacement. I have 8% increase for health insurance. There is no increase to supplemental health insurance coverage. This includes accidental death and disability, long-term death, short-term death, dental, and vision. I have a 17.76% increase in for FRS, 25% in for general liability, and a 200% increase for property insurance. There is a 7.7 increase to the BSO fire EMS service contract, 3% in for merits, 2% in for COLAs. I have additional events embedded in the budget. There's additional funding for streets, sewer, and stormwater repairs and maintenance. I have $50,000 included in the budget for hurricane preparedness, which has never done. We've more so reacted for hurricanes instead of prepare for them. And lastly, I have $50,000 for salary contingencies for unexpected sick and vacation payouts. The past year, we've had quite the turnover, and we were not prepared for to pay out 8 to 12 people. So this is, kind of lessen the load. Next, I have my 2024 general fund shortfall comparison. For 2022, the actuals, we collected 13.1 million, and the total expenditures were 12.7. That is a $334,000 revenue over expenditures. In 2023, I'm projecting revenues to come in at 13.1 million, with expenditures totaling 13.103. I am projecting a small surplus revenue over expenditures, which brings me to our fiscal year 2024 proposed budget. As it stands, I have revenue projections coming in at 13.8 million. And my total expenditures are coming in a little bit over 14 million. The gap there of expenditure over revenues is 191,000. And throughout the budget process that we have remaining, I plan to work closely with town manager and you as a commission to kind of close that gap. A few things that contribute to the high expense rate of 2023, the year that we're in, are the sick and vacation payouts, the emergency repairs to roads and streets, and the increased FRS rates. Here's a breakdown of our 2024 general fund revenue comparison. In 2024, we're proposing ad valorem revenue of 8.3 million, which is $643,000 more than my year-end projection. Sales and use tax, I'm projecting 537,000 collected, and this is $25,000 more than this year's projection. Franchise fees, I'm projecting 980,000. That is $37,000 more than my 23 projection. Utility service tax, I'm projecting 1.3 million for 24, which is 25,000 more than my year-end estimate. Communication service tax, I'm projecting 151,000, which is only $4,400 more than my projection. Licenses and permits are coming in very close to what to the projection at 151,000. This is, I'm sorry, Licenses and permits are coming in at 595,000, which is about $100,000 more than my projection for this year's end. Intergovernmental revenue, that's being reduced by $145,000 compared to my year-end projection. Charges for services are coming in at $618,000, $41,000 more than my projection for this year's end. And fines and forfeitures are coming, my projection is $90,000 for fiscal year 24, and this is $19,000 more than my year-end projection. So you may question, where are the dollars coming from? Of the $13.8 million that I'm projecting that we'll bring in fiscal year 2024, 4% or $595,000 are from licenses and permits. 2% is from intergovernmental revenue. 4% are for charges for services, that's $618,000. Fines and forfeitures are at 1% or $90,000. Miscellaneous and other revenues are $905,000 or 7%. Communication service taxes 1% or $151,000. Utility service taxes coming in at $1.3 million or 9%. Franchise fees $980,000 or 7%. Sales and use tax $537,000 or 4%. And lastly, which is the bulk of the general fund revenue, ad valorem taxes $8.3 million or 61% of general fund projected revenue. This slide is a breakdown of our 2024 general fund expenditures by department. And as you can see, most departments increased slightly. We'll start with Mayor and Commission. Mayor and Commission is going up $167,000 from the $375,000 that I'm projecting. The reason for that increase is one, FRS, two, we now have a full commission versus last year we had three commission for more than 50% of the year. So that explains that large increase there. Administration is decreasing $520,000. That decrease is because we are separating departments. Human resources and the town clerks will be its own department. So as you see, historically, human resources and town clerk, they have no history to the left on my chart, but they do have values in there for fiscal year 2024. $228,000 for human resources, $438,000 for town clerk. Finance, $521,000. That is $29,000 more than my projection. Legal, $250,000 for 2024, and that is due to the outsourcing of the department, not having to pay salary and fringe benefits. Save the town some money. Planning also decreased $25,000, and this is also due to the reason you don't see the large number as you would see in legal is because of the entry-level position that we had budgeted in planning versus a director position budgeted. Had there been a director, the number would be larger. Information technology, that is a $90,000 increase, and the proposed budget right now is $487,000. I'm sorry. Yes. Next, I have non-departmental, where the proposed budget for 2024 is $1.4 million. It is a $618,000 increase from this year's projection. Not the budget, but the projection. The police department, I have at $3.8 million for fiscal year 2024. This is a decrease from this year's projection of $4.1 million. Fire, I have fire in at $4.1 million, and this is a $298,000 increase, which is a 7.7% increase. Roads and streets going up $68,000. This is due to increased maintenance and repairs. Code compliance going up $64,000 to $308,000. And lastly, Parks and Recreation for a budget of $534,000, which is a decrease of $18,000. Next is a breakdown of our building fund expenditures and revenues. As you can see, in 2022, we collected $1.2 million. and our expenditures were $867,000. That was a significant surplus that we carried over to this fiscal year. And as you can see with my projections, we're projecting to collect a little bit over $1,094,000, and we're projected to spend $808,000. That will again leave us with a significant fund balance that will carry over to 2024. And we're proposing a $925,000 budget for building moving forward. Next, sewer. In 2022, our sewer fund collected $3 million, and the expenses totaled $2.2 million. That was a carryover to 2023, where I'm projecting $2.9 million in revenue collected this year and expenses of 4.1. And you may question, wow, that's a lot of money that we're going over, and you're right. The reason that we're going over is because there have been a lot of emergency repairs that we had to address this year. Next year, our budget is increasing about $665,000 to $3.6 million, and this is due to us addressing those repairs in the budget instead of reacting to them as an emergency. Next, I have my stormwater budget. My 2022 actuals come in at $1.5 million for revenue, and expenditures are at $801,000. That carryover was carried over to 2023, where I'm projecting revenues of $1.4 million and expenditures of $1.3 million. Our our stormwater budget for fiscal year 2024 is projected at $2.8 million for both revenue and expenditures. As you can see, we're pulling in $1.4 million from the fund reserve, and that is the same situation as sewer, to address these issues proactively than react to them and having to amend the budget later on in the year. Next, I have my 2024 proposed community events, and we have the Pembroke Park Healthcare Festival, the Egg Hunt, the Toy Drive, Turkey Drive, Community Garden, Community Movie Night, School Supply Drive, Food Distributions for the Farm Share, Employee Holiday Celebration, Little Library Dispensers, Fall Music Festival, World Suicide Prevention Day, Global Diversity Awareness Day, Small Business Support Programs, Citizenship Drive, and Expungement and Sealing Clinics. Next, I'd like to go over some of the budget challenges with building a balanced budget for fiscal year 2024. The first challenge is general fund revenue and the shortage of that revenue. As mentioned before, the main source of revenue is the ad valorem taxes, and that only increases so much, right? So that is a challenge. Sorry, trying to get back to the page. There we go. Next, we have the increasing personnel costs, COLA, merit, fringe benefits. FRS costs did increase 17.76%. So for directors and police officers, that increase turned out to be pretty large. The police department build out and furniture, fleet replacement, public services and police department vehicles, the 200% increase for Florida Municipal Insurance Trust property insurance, funding for capital projects, the 7.7% increase to BSO fire and EMS services contract, infrastructure of sewer and stormwater, supply chain challenges, and then of course inflation. Next, I have my priorities. Throughout the week, throughout the last 10 days, I've had the luxury of meeting with the four of you here, and thank you for your time. And during that time, I was able to jot down some of your initiatives and really, engage in what your priorities are. And this is what I came up with. You guys want to see improvement to infrastructure of sewer and stormwater. You want to see enhanced public safety. You also want to promote citizen engagement through advertising, through community events. You want to ensure long-term financial stability. You want investment into parks and recreation and green spaces. And you want to deliver on capital projects. But most importantly, you want to enhance the quality of life for residents and businesses in Pembroke Park.
Here, here.
And that concludes my presentation. I take this opportunity to take on any questions.
Does anyone have any questions?
Here.
Lori at this time? Nope.
Nope.
Okay,
We've
perfect.
Gone
Then
through that already.
we thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Very good presentation.
Thanks. Okay. I am going to skip the next one and I am going to go to 8.1. So the resolution 2023-06, resolution of the Town Commissioner of the Town of Pembroke Park approving and authorizing the proper town officials for the interlocal agreement for the solid waste disposal.
May I?
Yes.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Commission. For the record, item 8.1 is Resolution 2023-006, a resolution of the Town Commission of the Town of Pembroke Park, Florida, approving and authorizing the proper town officials of the Town of Pembroke Park to execute the interlocal agreement for solid waste disposal and recyclable materials processing authority of Broward County, Florida, attached to Exhibit A, authorizing the town manager to make certain non-substantial changes to the ILA, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. And for the record, Mayor and Commission, Mayor Greg Ross from the great city of Cooper City is here this evening, along with Mary Lou Tai from the Broward League of Cities, who are both available to speak to the item as needed.
Perfect. Come on down. Yes, if you want to.
Just want to say thank you very much for having me. First time I'm here, and I do appreciate the opportunity. I'm here for any questions you have on the ILA.
Do you want to do a quick 2 seconds, or can we just go ahead and move it along?
You could certainly move along the item. Candidly, I'd be happy to defer to Mayor Ross, who's been intimately involved with the item as the chair of the Solid Waste Working Group. And for the record, this has sort of been a long and ongoing process that the cities have gotten together over the past couple years to coordinate a collaborative and comprehensive manner to address solid waste in Broward County for the foreseeable future. This is a long-term plan that most of the cities in Broward County, I'll say not all, but most of the cities in Broward County have signed on to join along with the county in forming a third-party entity to oversee the solid waste hauling and disposal countywide.
It's a governance structure, essentially.
Yeah, so does that have any plans to reduce waste? I mean,
Yeah, as a matter of fact, yes, in our charter, literally, we're looking to have the reduction of the waste and have a recycling plan, because everybody's paying for it and it's not being recycled, being candid with you.
yeah, I understand that.
Yeah, the county has it's stuff that we're supposed to be every few years, we're supposed to be reducing it more and more, so that the increase in the amount of recycling will go like up to 25%, up to 30% eventually over time.
We actually have a aspirational goal of 75%.
And they've been working hard to enforce it and also to have the cities to do the same, to participate in making sure that we're all doing our fair share to recycle.
And that's what it is. It's a group effort, if you will, and we're working in partnership with the county.
Okay. If no one has any questions, other than that, then I'll entertain a motion to enter into the ILA. Yes? Yes, no?
I entertain a motion to approve resolution 2023-006.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Motion made by, sorry,
Eric.
motion made by Vice Mayor Morissette, seconded by Clerk Commissioner Hodgkins. Acting Clerk Commissioner Kashem.
Yes.
Clerk Commissioner Hodgkins.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Morissette.
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day. Okay. I'm gonna move around a little bit. What do we have on for waste? Yes,
A2.
that's not 8.2, waste management,
Oh,
because I don't want to make him stay here unnecessarily. 10.7, okay.
sorry.
So then we are going to move to, we're going to skip around just a little bit because anybody who's hourly, I'm getting them out of here. All right, see, that's my contribution to the budget. All right, so 10.7, waste management recycling processes. Public Service Director, come on down.
Guy.
afternoon, Mayor Council.
Hello.
This is
You can move that up. There you go.
this item is actually a companion item to what we just heard from the interlocal agreement with Broward County. What it is actually the agreement with the town of Pembroke Park, where we take our recycling to waste management facility. The actual process and the handling of the recycling and recyclables, this contract is actually with waste management, and it shows an increase of about approximately $2,600. I have here with me Andres Cruz, who is one of the waste management representative, and he will give you a briefing on what the contract entails.
And Mayor, just to clarify, it's $2,600 for the year. Not,
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Andreas?
Mayor, Commissioners, thank you for having me here. Like Public Works Services Director mentioned, this is for the recycling processing. So after the recycles are collected, they're taken to our facility. They're processed in our single stream facility that is separated between cardboard, paper, plastic, aluminum, and glass. And that's baled and then marketed for a value. So the processing rate is for that the entire process. You do receive a rebate at the end based on the value of the materials. Currently, unfortunately, the markets are very, they're not favorable. We do foresee that changing in the future. That's why we're investing in a brand new facility actually in Pembroke Pines. We're investing $75 million. It's gonna have robotics, AI sorters, and we're going to use a lot of technology to reduce the contamination rate, which is also going to help you increase that rebate. So you see right now, obviously, and it was mentioned in your budget presentation, there's been a lot of issues with supply chain. There's been issues with inflation, which is what has impacted the rates as well. And you have it in the backup as well, how we break down some of those impacts and what they mean. Here for any other questions you may have.
Yeah, I understand you have problems hiring people. Or
Yeah, definitely. That's an area that throughout COVID was an issue. There was a shortage of drivers. Waste Management put out initiatives, and also workers, technical workers, and anybody who works in our facilities. Waste Management put a education initiative. So we pay for college for our employees, and we provide them with superior benefits. And that's where we were able to actually capture, I want to say, top talent. Retain and bring new talent. But throughout the country, throughout the industry, we did suffer a lot of challenges with labor. That's correct.
Mm-hmm.
does the state have any policies really that I mean, we need to improve our waste management. We're wasting too much. Let's put it that way. But does the state have any ideas? Anything coming from Tallahassee?
Well, that's a little bit beyond my scope, but certainly there's initiatives, the different levels of government to increase the recycling processes and to better. So as you can heard from the mayor, the counties and the cities are putting together a solid waste working group that look into initiatives. There's also initiatives at different levels of government to find a solution from that end. And on our sector, on the private sector, we are investing a lot in technology. We are very committed with sustainability. Waste Management as a company, we are investing a lot in that for the future because we see that as a future, as our children, our grandchildren. It's important for us. It's not just part of our services, but it's a legacy.
Thank you.
as a follow-up, Vice Mayor, what I can do is I'll reach out to Dave Segerson, our lobbyist, and see if there's anything in Tallahassee, any conversations up there, you know.
Yeah, you know, when you travel around in the United States, you see every state have different policies, and like up in New York, they use bottle recycling. You have a deposit on everything, and it even says on the bottles in certain states you get money back, and here we have nothing. Anyway, it's too big for us to deal with here.
Okay. So the total cost you said is $2,600 for the year for the entire city for all of the recycling that we pick up like on Fridays? Is that correct? Mondays. That's why my garbage can keeps sitting out there? Okay, y'all keep changing days on me.
So we vote.
There is any option to break down a little bit?
Say that one more time.
There is any option to break down the price?
That was the rate that Waste Management presented to all the cities in Broward County that are partners with Waste Management on recycling processing. So it's a standard rate for everybody in Broward County that do business with us.
Okay. And this cost is
2000.
from the city, right? Correct? Or will it be billed individually or to the city? Okay. I just want to make sure our residents are going to get another like $50 a month. That's all.
So that's building in our budget.
Okay, just checking. All right. So I will entertain a motion to approve the contract for waste management. For recycling?
I can entertain the motion to approve the process, the contract with waste management.
I second it.
Okay. Any further discussion? Nope. Okay, roll call.
Motion made by Vice Mayor Morset, seconded by Acting Clerk Commissioner Kashem. Clerk Commissioner Hodgkins.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Morset.
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed.
Yes.
Acting Clerk Commissioner Kashem.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you, Andreas.
Have a good
Thank
night.
you.
Okay. Alim, stay up there because you have which one that we need to discuss first.
Is it late, Phil?
Yes. That's what everyone's here for? Keith and Associates? Okay. Listen, I'm trying to get my hourlies out, okay? So
All right.
I gotta save.
Mayor, if I may, just as a matter of procedure, if I could ask if you open up the meetings for public comments, item 6, to give anybody who wants to speak on any agenda item an opportunity to do so before the commission takes further action.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay. Item number 6, public comments related to agenda items and good welfare. Is there anyone from the public who wish to speak on anything? Nope. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay. Now we get back to it.
Mayor, if you want to do item 12.1, then we could move on to 12.2.
Okay, perfect. All right, so we are gonna take 12.1? We got-
One.
Crane truck.
Okay, but who's hourly for that? We have an hourly? Oh, okay. All right, I'm sorry. I was checking. All right, 12.1, purchase of crane trucks for the sewer department.
Thank you very much, Mayor Commission. This item before you is actually
That enterprise?
the approval
Yeah.
for the approval of the purchase of a crane truck from Enterprise, which is a government contracting agent. They do a lot of government contracts for a lot of other cities, our neighboring cities. She has a short presentation that we're going to queue up, and we could go into a further discussion after the presentation.
Okay.
From Enterprise.
Oh, okay.
From Ambi.
Got it.
Hello, my name is Abayo Manning. I am a client strategy manager with Enterprise Fleet Management. Today we are presenting a crane truck, an estimated pricing that we submitted to Aline to get the crane truck purchased. Just a little background on Enterprise Fleet Management. We are vetted through the Sourcewell Cooperative, and we have won the bid for up through April of 2026. And we work with a lot of the cities in South Florida, including next door Hollywood and Miami Gardens. All of our pricing and everything that you would see on the purchase agreement is already vetted through Sourcewell and is everything, it follows the pricing plan that we have agreed with them. So I just put together a few of the cities that we work with here in South Florida. Like I said, Hollywood, Miami Gardens, and also through the state and throughout the country. We do work with a lot of cities. We've also been working with Aline and Roy to put together budgets to lower the total cost of ownership for your fleet over the next 10 years.
But then there's an
And then
option
next,
to buy it outright if you want.
specifically for the truck, We put together estimated pricing. The market is moving pretty fast right now. So it's hard to get exact pricing on a vehicle until we have agreement on pricing, and then I could submit to the dealer so that they could secure the vehicle for us. But as you can see, the pricing here, we estimate the cost of the vehicle for you will be $153. I'm sorry.
153,000.
I'll
take it.
I'll take it. Sold.
Make it 2.
Like we'll each
Matter of
take
fact,
one.
I'll take 2.
$153,000 if you were to purchase an
Aw.
F550, and $150,000 for a Ford F450. The majority of that cost is for the aftermarket, which is the crane, and the rest is the actual vehicle that we need to secure.
Okay.
And this is over a term of 5 years. Generally, we would cycle a vehicle out after 5 years, but because the aftermarket on this vehicle is so expensive, it really makes sense for you to hold this vehicle for a little longer. So more like a term of 10 years. So this is a vehicle that's gonna be with the city for quite some time.
All right, I have a question for Aleem.
Sure.
The truck that you're proposing here is to help, like just recently we had to move a pump out of the park,
Yeah, that's correct.
but that's the only one that we really have that's huge like that, I believe.
That's the only truck that we has, that the town has to actually pull the pumps from the pump stations. We have a total of 32 pump stations right now.
Yeah.
And this truck is the only truck that helps with the guys on pulling those pumps when we do service on it. It's a 1999. I'm looking for my backup on it.
Yeah, it's a 98 or 9.
Correct.
Yeah.
So the truck is really, and I did a short analysis. Today I looked at some of the numbers over the last 2 years. We spent over $14,000. Right now, Ford would not even look at the truck. We have 2 other agencies that we take it for service, and I
They
think
don't want to
the
deal
truck
with
is
it.
beyond
Yeah.
its useful life. And I'm recommending that we purchase one so the utility department can actually.
You're going to take it in trade though, right?
Is
Non-committal answer. That's
how many miles is a vehicle like that supposed to do in a year, or is it viable to have an electric truck instead?
It's actually not the miles on the truck. It's actually the number of operating hours, because since how the truck operates and the number of hours they operate during servicing. So it's well beyond its useful life. So, maybe you could shed some more light.
Yeah, so optimally, vehicles, we want to hold them up into 100,000 miles. Based on your mileage patterns, your vehicles are generally driving about 10,000 miles radius in the year. So you're not driving that many vehicle. The idling does help the vehicle faster to depreciate, and it puts wear and tear on the engine. So when you are moving those pumps and you are doing whatever you need to do around the city, that idling does hurt the vehicle as well.
That's why I asked the question about electric.
So electric vehicles, that's something that we are reviewing with most of our partners right now. For an electric vehicle, this heavy duty vehicle, they really don't have options for electric vehicles. But the infrastructure right now is a little challenging also when we look at electric vehicles. But it is something that we are looking into for the, not this year, for the rest of the fleet. Like I said, the infrastructure isn't just there, but we are paying attention to that going forward for the rest of your vehicles.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Other questions? If not, then I'll entertain a motion to purchase the fleet truck.
Yeah.
The truck from Enterprise. Yes? No?
Roy, budget-wise?
Right, so that's.
Yeah. You're trying to make him cry, yeah? Find the money, Roy.
All right, good evening, Honorable Mayor and Commission. Roy Brown, Budget and Finance Director. Financially, yes, we can support it. It will come from the enterprise funds, not the general fund. So yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I do recommend that we buy it outright versus, we have the money, so I'd propose that we just purchase it outright.
Then the expense, rather than a lease type thing or something, yeah.
Well, Motion to approve the purchase.
Can we hold 1 minute? What's the warranty?
We have the maintenance up to 100,000 miles on this vehicle that we will be managing for you, and that's when the warranty runs out. But after that, we have 8 cents a mile to manage the maintenance for you.
We only have a 2-mile period, so it lasts us about 50 years.
Yeah.
You're going to have a long haul on this one.
So, and then the regular manufacturer warranties, obviously.
Yes, certainly.
For that.
All right, thank you. Go ahead, Eric. You want to go ahead?
I know you make the motion now.
All right, I make a motion for 12.1, the purchase of the crane truck for the sewer department.
I second.
Roll call.
Motion made by Clerk Commissioner Hodgkins, seconded by Vice Mayor Morset. Vice Mayor Morset?
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed?
Yes.
Acting Clerk Commissioner Kashem?
Yes.
Clerk Commissioner Hodgkins?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you. We're going to go on to 12.2, Trinity Lakeville.
Trinity Lakeville. This item on the agenda is actually just for informational purposes, since most of the commissioners and including the mayor has contacted me about the Lakeville permit that was recently applied for in our building department. A complete analysis of the Lakeville or the lake filling operations and the permit was actually submitted to our building department last 2 weeks. With that, I know for a fact that Broward County has also received a copy of a permit, the Lakeville permit from Broward County Environmental Department as well. So I'm also in collaboration with them on this item. One of the things with this item is that the stormwater system is a very complex system within the town. It's dynamic. There's a lot of moving parts. There's a lot of pump stations and pumps and lakes and canal systems that are all interconnected. Hence the reason why
Bless you.
this is an integral part of the stormwater management system of the town. And this is the reason why I brought it up for discussion, since it's going to affect everyone or all the residents of the town, and it's also going to affect the operations of your pump station or your main pump station within the town. With that, I'd like to turn it over to
Good evening. I'm Steve Williams with Keith. I'm Vice President of Engineering and a General Consultant to the town. Good to see you all tonight. So, main thing I'm going to do is give you a brief overview of the system and what the filling of the lake operation is doing. Do I have a clicker? Yeah. Oh, there we go. So this is the schematic plan of the proposed development that's coming here. This is not what has been permitted. The Broward County Surface Water Management has issued a permit for filling the lake to elevation 4. This has not been permitted, this development, at this time. And the permit that we mentioned was coming in will be reviewed by the town to make sure it's in conformance with the fill permit that was issued by Broward County. So going to the next one, the red is the 15 acres of lake that is proposed to be filled. The town owns a portion of the lake down by the park and an easement on a portion of the lake that is property of the Trinity development for stormwater management. And then there's a pump station in the northeast corner of the site near where the red and the existing lake meet there that pumps it to the DOT system in I-95 and discharges out. So just a brief history on what's going on there. So what Broward County, in reviewing their permits, they have what's called a pre-development and post-development analysis that has to be made on any development, whether it's this lake or any new development that's going in. And what that does is it says in a pre-development condition, what is the storage? How much water can that site hold in its existing condition? And then the post-development takes a look back at what's going to be built and make sure that the storage in the built site, because there's more impervious, there's more paved area, It may be higher in most cases, in this case certainly higher, and it has to provide the same amount of basin storage that existed pre. So that's what we call a pre-post analysis of the development site. So going back to the lake that's being filled, the red is a 15 acres of lake. They're filling it under the existing permit, and the building permit plans that are in it for now is just to fill it to elevation 4, not to do the full development. So that the maintained water elevation in that lake is 0.5. That's where it's held at by the pumping system that's in there, 0.5. So they do a pre-post analysis on 15 acres, and there's 3.5 feet of water over that 15 acres that basically is being filled. So in that dirt of the filled area, there may be 6 inches, let's say, of water that's stored in the soil. The soil has some, so you don't lose the full 3.5 feet. So we're saying 3 feet of storage is lost over that 15 acres, so there's 15 acre feet.
45.
45 acre feet over that 15 acres that is lost due to filling that lake. So they need to be compensated for on their upland areas. So that site, which is a 44.5 acre site with 7.6 acres of it's their lake, owned by them, not in an easement to the town or not a portion of it that's owned by the town. So they have to provide for that 45 acres of lost storage in that lake upland, because in the pre-post analysis, you can't negatively impact your neighbors. And that's what the county is looking for in issuing a permit, that your pre-post is the same and doesn't run off more water onto your neighbors or negatively affect in this case, the lake levels, because it's beyond their boundary is this lake. So what they have done in building the ground up to 4, they put in a berm, what they call a 25-year berm around their site. And so if you went around all of their properties, and this would also include their new lake edges that was going there, they have a 4.8 acre berm. So there's all of the water is held back on their 37 acres of upland. They have 37 acres and then the 7.6 acres of lake. So 37 acres of upland holds back water at that elevation 4.8 that's equivalent, that 45 acre feet of the portion of the lake that's being filled. So there's really no water that would be discharged into that lake from that 37 acre of upland until it topped the berm, which is the 25-year storm. So the way they compensate, the way the pre is going to meet the post, is they don't let any water go into that lake up to that 4.8. So that equivalent amount of water is 45 acres to compensate for the 45 acres is being filled on that 15 acres of lake. So it's a little bit of engineering ease there, I know. And so before I go on and talk about the rest, I'll just maybe ask if there's any questions to this point.
What's the berm that they're talking about?
A berm?
No, I know what it is, but I mean, how much are they?
Okay, they're filling the land of 4.
Uh-huh.
The land, the lake, the 15 acres of lake is being raised up to 4. And then they're putting a berm around the entire site, or there's existing ground that's at 4, at 4.8. So that no water leaves that site, no water gets into that lake area until it reaches that 4.8, which is what is calculated to be their 25-year rainfall event.
So
that's the water.
We got a hurricane or something with a major rain event.
Right.
It supposedly would take care of that.
Yes, sir. So that's the volume of water they're using in their post analysis to be held on their site before we go lake. So theoretically, by doing that, then the impact on the lake itself is not impacted, because yes, I filled 15 acres. I've taken 40 or 45 acres of storage out of that lake. But in the 25-year storm, rather than the existing condition, which is letting that go into the lake directly, it's being held back on their 37 acres of upland.
We actually pump into that lake.
and from. I just see a lot of problems with this, to be honest. One thing is that whole area is percolating, so you might have a berm, and as they say in Holland, and then the water runs underneath the berm, right? I doubt that would work. The other thing is there's going to be a lot of other environmental issues here, filling up a lake.
I'm not here to address any of the other environmental issues, and truthfully, I'm not aware, or I'm sure there's been, your phase 1, phase 2 to look at the environmental issues. Talking about the stormwater management, the point you mentioned about water moving through the ground, certainly it does.
We live east of there, and we get constantly flooded. And we're working hard on improving that situation, of course, because people have lost a lot of property, both in the industrial area and the build-up areas. And now they're going to take some of that drainage basin away from us. And so I need to see some other solutions than just, we're holding back the water. We need to know where's that water going to go.
Okay, and I'm aware of the town is working on a drainage system with a pump that actually has exfiltration trench groundwater and pumps to that lake, which then goes through the pump station we talked about in the northeast corner of this lake and pumps it on out to the DOT system in 995. So that's where the water goes. It's where it goes now, and it's where it would go in the future. What this does, the analysis, the pre-post analysis says, I'm not going to negatively impact what's happening in that lake right now, because I'm not putting any more water into that lake, and therefore not changing the elevations in that lake over what's happening now. You're right, water does come through the soil. In the time frame, all of our analysis from a stormwater management standpoint is the hyetograph of a 3-day storm. So it's a 25-year 3-day, 100-year 3-day, and water moves through the ground, but at a much slower rate than it would overland flow or go through a discharge structure. So the analyses that are made from a stormwater management standpoint, the analysis of groundwater moving through the soil is not taken into account because it happens somewhere beyond the 3-year. Then the way storms go, they have a hyetograph, a rainfall graph that peaks and then drops back down. And so it's the peak of it that we're mainly concerned about from discharging of the flood waters. What happens on the other ends of the hyetograph curve happens in a slower time frame, and that's when the groundwater situation flow actually comes into play. Maybe how long the pumps would go, but it doesn't really have an impact on the the high water elevation, which is what the stormwater management is looking at.
Well, Florida's pretty porous, right?
Yes, sir.
It's all coral reef, so I don't think you can basin it in. But
I have a couple questions for you. Number one, has the South Florida Water Management District been contacted, and what are their viewpoints or thoughts on this? Second, do you want to do it one at a time, or you want me to just?
Yeah, let's do one. So answering your question, South Florida Water Management District. What anybody's going to develop in South Florida, and what they have done here, is they file a permit with Broward County Water Resources Department, Broward County Red, they go by now. They've had so many names since my career. They started with EQC, Environmental Quality Control Board. They've had a number of, but they're now called Broward County Red Broward County Red. and what they do, South Florida Water Management District has delegated their permit authority for the environmental resource permit, which is a state permit, to Broward County to issue. The EPA, who issues the federal one, has delegated their authority to the DEP, which is delegated to South Florida. Now, so when you get a permit from Broward County, you are getting a state permit that includes the South Florida Water Management District permit. You get actually 2 different permits. You get a surface water management license, which is Broward County's, and you get an ERP, Environmental Resource Permit, that's a South Florida Water Management District permit. So they have gotten, Broward County was submitted, probably submitted in early part of this year and issued in April, I believe, of this year, a stormwater license to fill this lake their review and look at the pre-post analysis that was submitted. So yes, they have weighed in on just the filling of the Lake Delaware for not the overall development. That will have to come back to them with whatever their proposed plans are and how they plan on showing the pre-post meets the development stage as well.
Now, I'm going to also ask, with our drainage system, and I know Todd is familiar with this, our drainage system. Todd, you want to come on down? I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's a question where you're going to pump the water because
Well, yeah,
we're
because
looking for places to pump our water.
well, we have these. Well, I mean, I don't know if you guys are aware, the commissioners, and Todd can give you a history of our lakes and how they're interconnected, and also how they're not really real lake material, but they're concretes and all kinds of other materials, and how they're not absorbent and all of that wonderful stuff. And so, like, this really concerns me because of the fact that we know that, you know, it took a long time for us to get those outfalls, to get our water pumped out of the city. And I know that we're over on that east side, we're currently kind of pumping out to Orange Brook, to the golf course and everything like that. But with this being filled, and the fact that we usually control the lakes when it's raining with lowering all the lake levels, refilling them back up, you know, whenever it rains, you're talking a 25-year storm, but we've had how many 100-year storms hit us in the
10 years.
past 10 years, in the past 2 years. I mean, you know,
We just had one.
this is supposed to be, you know, 25-year rainstorm, and we're hitting 100-year rainstorms like every other week, you know, and we're flooding like there's no tomorrow. So, I mean, I'm just trying to understand. Todd, can you give the commissioners a history of what we've been dealing with in the past as well?
This lake, back around 99, 2000, we
Sorry,
had
come closer to the mic because
sorry,
I know
had
I'm not hearing you. Okay.
a flood event, 100-year storm, and this lake overtopped Park Road and went straight across into the mobile home parks. Since that time, we built the I-95 pump station. It doesn't serve this area, it serves the other side of the tracks, but the town obtained 40 cubic feet per second of flow capacity, which is what the capacity of the Carolina pump station is, to use when it's not being used by the DOT. So in other words, if the pump station on I-95 runs 1 or 2 pumps, you can pump. If you run 3 pumps, it shuts this off. No ifs, no ands, or buts. So that's where we came up with the plan and the permissions to pre-pump the legs down, which is currently, the pumps come on at one of the new elevation and go off at a half foot. This keeps ground storage and lake storage for times when the pumps cannot run. You fill in that lake 50%. That surge capability is cut in half. And what's going to happen is it's going to fill up and it's going to overflow and it's going to hit the neighboring communities. That's all this.
That's my worry. And the other thing is all our neighbors get flooded. We have nowhere to pump our water. We're landlocked.
Right. And especially in the back part of the parks where this built on such low land, they don't maintain their internal pumps, and so you end up with only being able to pump out once you get the whole system down to a level below what the water level is in that back part.
And as you say, if they start pumping the other pumps, we can't turn ours on because they're already got 2 going full blast, then we're out of luck, you know. So
you don't run into the I-95 pump station running 3 pumps a lot. It only happens in severe storms where you're getting 3 or 4 inches in an hour for an extended period of time. Sort of like the event
That's once a week.
2010, where we got 8 inches of rain in 2 hours.
Right.
There's nothing you can do.
Yeah, I think Vermont's experiencing that right now.
Well, we had 12-inch in April.
The stormwater systems at the max is an inch an hour capacity.
Right.
Is the normal build out. So if you're getting 4 inches an hour and you get it 2 hours in a row, you're going to have 6 or 7 inches of water on the ground. But in 6 or 7 hours, as long as the lakes are capable of taking it, it's going to be gone, completely gone. And that's what we noticed during those type of events.
Steve, you look like you want to add something.
No, absolutely. I've worked with Todd on this system years back. So exactly what Todd's saying. What that pre-development, post-development analysis is what you have to keep in mind. And then the town owns an easement on, I believe it's about 6 acres of that lake.
No more than that.
And it owns a portion
Between
of the lake.
10 and 15 acres of easement, and 2 acres of the lake is actually
Is
belongs to
actually owned. So there's a portion of that lake that's not being filled, that the town has an easement on and owns a portion of it. So
if you look at what they want, that it almost exactly equals our easement and our land. Basically, they're removing their entire lake.
okay, so that's. I mean, I'm not sure of what those numbers are, but I mean, what they're doing is they own a portion of the land, and the portion they're filling, they're doing a pre-post analysis on. So the lake elevations in there pre-development should not exceed the post-development, but at least in this fill up to 4, because they are providing the same amount of storage upland for the 25-year storm or the 100-year storm that existed in the pre-development. So the operation of the pump going to I-95 shouldn't see a difference in volume of water coming into that lake. There will be some groundwater that comes through the soil over a period of time, not in the time frame of a 3-day storm event. But it would be, say, maybe longer that it would be pumped, but that water that would reach it that way is probably slower than it would have reached it if it was their whole, 44 and a half acres that went into the lake initially. So I don't see it in the analysis that's done with the pre and the post analysis that the town's pump station is going to see more water with the filling of this. And that's what the permit agency, South Florida Water Management District, for our county is looking for. They're gonna look at the land that the developer owns in their lake area and make sure that it doesn't negatively affect other properties, which in this case would be the town's owned lake and the town's easement areas. Could not be negative.
But we also want to make sure it doesn't impact the residents and the mobile home parks that are laying right beside there.
So what it's saying is that what would happen after the development wouldn't be, would be the same condition as before, because there's no more water going to that amount of lake than was going to, the elevations in that lake wouldn't change from
Now,
the pre and the post.
are they saying they're going to berm
Yes.
the entire property along Park Road?
Yes, sir.
Along,
Correct. That's what
behind
they're-
Pembroke Road, it doesn't actually go to Pembroke Road, and all the way in the entire property.
All the way around the entire property would be burned to the 4.8. That's what's in their permit and their license with Broward County and South Florida Water Management District right now.
So they're willing to flood their own area to protect us.
Correct. That's what's in their license now.
What they're saying.
And
Yeah.
yeah, you gotta remember, they're only filling that lake at 4 right now, and they're building this 4.8 berm. Once you come in and start putting buildings in pavement areas, raising the grade, there's more water generated that way. And by the pre and post development, they have to store it somewhere on their site. We haven't looked at it, they haven't proposed anything there, but
They're filling up their lake, so where are they going to store it?
The taller you store it,
The more violently it's going to come.
so they would end up, there's various ways you store it. You could store it elevated and create, retention areas, because they don't show any in their development right now. You have exfiltration trenches, you can do underground vaults, you can do, but in order to get a permit to do the development that they're proposed, they would have to show, just like they showed in the going to floor, that the storage they have on this developed site is somehow
Going to
mitigating
absorb that, yeah.
that amount, or that they won't get a permit to do that.
I just have a feeling somebody forgotten that we are about 5 feet above sea level here, and I cannot see how we can say we're planning for the future and climate change and all, and then
Yeah, from a,
where I come from, water rounds downhill, and we're the lowest point. And I'm sure we're gonna get filled up because we've been flooded.
And that's
We get
why-
flooded in the summer weekly.
And that's why when I was running the system, we did the study that, I don't know if you guys got a copy of it or not, but we had HP consultants do the study of the underground water and the way it flows in town.
They haven't gotten a copy of it,
Yeah,
and I
okay.
was also
We'll-
looking
we'll
for the
eventually-
geotech.
And then what it shows is that everything is connected underground. If you look at the photos that are in that project, it actually shows you how much was actually dredged and how close the lakes, original lakes in Seneca, were to Behan Lake. It was a matter of probably less than 50 feet, all the way along there. And they filled that back with sand, and sand flows. So we wrote and had written an ordinance for lake filling to where they need to show no negative impacts with a complete study. I mean, they haven't done a complete study. They've done basic stuff to get your county permits, but they don't meet the city permits of what's required for permitting. And the town made the Seneca Commerce Center do that. And what the Seneca Commerce Center ended up having to do was, there's a 7-acre lake in there that just serves Seneca Commerce Center. That lake is lined. Water cannot leave that lake except for evaporation or through a bleeder, a small outlet that flows back over time to Meekins Lake, which slows your rate to the other lake so that it can be handled.
How
by
big
the
is it?
pumps.
How big is that line?
I
Do you know?
can't remember what it is. It's made to flow the lake down. It's like 1 foot in the lake for every 24 or 36 hours, something in that range. And so it's only like a 2-inch line.
Yeah, a couple inches, yeah.
It's very small. Bleeds slowly, but it takes all the water from that entire development and pre-holds it prior to the lease to the next lake, which is Meekins, which slowly, they also did some things in Meekins to reduce the flow underground to the east. Did some using water plant sludge and other ingredients to seal the cracks in the bottom of that lake as much as they could, so that it doesn't flow as fast into the Behan Lake. That by doing that, it has reduced the flooding events, both in duration and in severity. But we made them do a complete study. They've got a copy of it back there on the desk. It's about that thick. It says who has rights to put it in there, in the water into the lake, how much, how it's divided out. And they had to show that when they were done, that all of the flowage rights, everybody that goes into that lake were accounted for, and that they would meet the 100-year storm event with that. And they ended up being able to do it. They had to do a lot of stormwater management.
Well, I think we'll have to do the same thing with
And
Trinity,
that's why
Trinity
this
too.
Code of ordinances, and he's got it.
Yeah, and that's the next slide.
He'll go over the items and the conditions that the town generated and used to achieve this goal.
All right.
Yeah, very good. Absolutely agree, totally.
But sometimes these events happens when we have hurricanes, and during hurricanes we very often lose our power. How are you going to pump with no power? I mean, this is what been happening to us again and again. Power goes, nobody can pump. We get flooded.
Yeah, generally the generator, just like you do on sewage stations.
The main pump stations here, especially the one at Carolina, the Carolina has a 2,000 gallon fuel tank. It can pump for more than a week, probably 10 days, without having to be refueled on standby power. The other ones are much less so. Like the one in the park is just a pump. I tried to get it upgraded to a more traditional system, but it only holds maybe 36 hours worth, and it has to be refueled by somebody within that 36 hours. But it was done as it was needed. Every one of the stormwater stations in town has a generator with as much storage as we could put there with the county's permission.
I'm not.
Totally agree with that system. And now the ordinance that Todd was mentioning, the green there shows where the town's easement and property is. The property is on the southern portion of that, and the easement's on the north portion. So there is, it shows here on this exhibit, there is a portion of.
That little section on the bottom belongs to apartments.
The one that's not, right, the one that's.
Between the green and the apartments there.
Right, it's not the towns,
It belongs to
the way
apartments, yes.
The other ones are on the, up there are owned still by Trinity as a part of it, so. So that initial analysis, and the reason I wanted to stop and go over it, and great to have Todd up here to give the history and explanation of it there, was just try to get the concept of the pre and the post. And so from an overall gross water storage, and they're met the pre and the post with this filling to 4. As far as the groundwater, they have not done that analysis with this, and that's where the town ordinance that Todd's referring to here gets into what they need to do in order to get a permit from the town to get the permit. And again, from the groundwater flow is much slower than what pipes or overland flow delivers to the lake itself. It's over a longer period of time. You get that big rainfall that comes in, and in a matter of 3 or 4 or 5 hours is when you get the bulk of that rainfall, and then there's a lead up to it and then a lead away from it. And your pumps are usually trying to shave that peak, because the peak is what gives you your peak flood elevation. The rest of it, which comes in from the ground, you have to make sure that it's getting rid of that water and basically recovering your storage. You want to recover that storage, so as we mentioned, and we get that quote 25-year storm every month. It does seem like we get a lot, and what you want is that lake to recover, and you need to check what the groundwater is doing to it to make sure that you're recovering your storage in that lake. Otherwise, you fill it up with one storm, maybe it's a 5-year storm or a 10-year storm, but if you get 3 or 4 of those storms that hit it, or a big thunderstorm in the background, your lake's filled up, it hasn't recovered, and therefore it doesn't provide you the intended stormwater abatement you could get. So this, what the town has through history, gone through and required the hydrology and hydraulic study. There's lake operation elevation calculations where they could go through and determine how this impact from a stormwater standpoint, and then also a recovery standpoint, which would take into account how the groundwater is getting to the lake. As I say, groundwater seeps in much slower than what you get in a storm event. It would be a modification, and that's what they applied for here for the lake filling. It would then modify this permit again for the full site development. And they would have to do the groundwater flow analysis that Todd mentioned, and the pre and post stormwater calculations that we were talking about.
So they'd have to go through and do all these prerequisites, plus they got to come to us for get permission to dump the water into our lake.
Correct.
They have not done any of that, so.
What they have to prove is they're not negatively affecting not just your lake that you own, but your lake that you have an easement on, which is.
Yeah, we see the green.
The green part,
Green
yeah.
in there.
Right.
But in reality, you know, we're supposed to pump the lakes down to a level so they have a buffer when a storm comes in. But sometimes the storms come so fast and so unpredicted that even the Met Office missed them. And that's where we get these flooding situations, because the lakes might already be pretty high, and without pre-pumping, we flood.
Yeah, and that's where Todd's way more familiar with the operations and how that works than I am. And he can tell you when it's held at 0.5 or if they go below 0.5.
Right. The 0.5 is the minimum we can pump to. The normal operation is between 1 foot and 0.5 foot, because you have to have time for the pump to continue to run, otherwise you tear up the pumps. So your maintained level is 1, and your pump down level is 0.5. And it cycles that every day, every 2 days, whatever it takes for the groundwater to fill it up, or rainwater, whichever where the water's coming from, and then to go backwards. During certain events, such as a hurricane or a tropical storm, you get what they call special permissions, where you can pump below that number. We're controlled by our permits.
Florida Water Management.
And you can drop about a foot below that with the special permission. But when you're dropping a foot below that, you're pumping the groundwater out of the ground
And we get
for
erosion.
a half a mile all the way around. And that makes storage so that when you get the big rain, it has someplace to seep in. It'll suck into the ground in the entire town. It helps the whole town, but you're also lowering your aquifer because you're pumping it down. That's why the restrictions. The restriction at the 0.5 is, as a normal condition, is so that the town doesn't adversely affect the drinking water wells that are in the area.
Right, and typically in early summer, they have no problem with pumping down. It's your late September and October storms that we have. Nobody wants to lower too much because you're at the end of the rainy season. You're about to go into your 5 months of dry season. So when you get into September and October, the Water Management District is a little leery on giving you permission to pump much below what your minimum elevation is, because they don't want to deplete the groundwater, because if you're always doing this based on projection. The projection storm coming in, it may or may not hit you. If you pump it all down in late September, October, the storm doesn't hit you, you don't get the rain, and now you go through 5 months of dry season, and you don't fill it back up, and you negatively impact the wells that Todd was mentioning.
Todd, I'm gonna ask, I have 2 questions for you. How do we go about bringing HP consultants in? Because I can't remember the mechanism we used, but I feel like we need.
What we did is we did I think it was a sub-consultant through Craig Smith and Associates. I think this is the way we ended up doing it.
Okay.
Through one of our engineering contracts, we use one of their sub-consultants that's in their list of services.
Okay. Can you go back to that the picture with the red and the green and all of that stuff? So okay.
Christmas slider.
I know, right? Those colors. Let me ask you a question. So when we pump down, we're not just pumping down the green. We're pumping down the red and the green, correct?
The entire lake.
Okay. So now how much storage is the combined red and green versus now with just the green? Because I'm figuring like.
It's 45 acre feet more than it is right now, is all I can tell you. The calculations we did was say, what are you filling? So right now, there's 45 acre feet more storage without the filling.
But
you fill the red area, that's 45 acre feet of water.
So we're actually losing 45 acre feet of storage for the town itself. That's what I want to get clear.
Right, because we use the storage, the town uses the storage, yes.
Okay.
Well, I.
Not just the town, but also
all
that
the
property.
other areas
But
also
I'm saying they,
into it. So-
we're all,
So the people that own the red area there, the Trinity Development, which owns that, and drains to it, all of the, the trail, all of their property goes into that lake. Now, the whole thing. So the concept of pre and post is that on the rest of their land, the other 37 acres of land that's upland, that they're not filling, they hold back the volume of water that they were dumping into the lake. So that red area that's filled, where you lose 45 acre feet of water, they hold back on their upland area in some other form of storage, exfiltration, subsurface storage, dry retention areas.
but they're holding back theirs. They're not holding back ours. That's what I'm kind of
Right,
trying to
they're
get to.
holding back theirs, which is the volume of that red area that they're filling.
But we currently utilize that red when we pump down because we're pumping down everyone. So we're now losing 45 acres of additional storage when we pump down. You're shaking your head, yes. You're looking at me
Halving
strange.
our capacity.
Well, when we go into it and they go into it, so let's just look at the 20, because this is based on the 25-year storm, which is what the county and the state require.
I'm just looking at
That's
like our
everything.
everyday rain.
Right.
That's
Okay, so like
everything.
when we're
volumes
pumping
I'm
down,
giving you
yes.
For the 25-year storm, which was in their permit. So their property drains directly to that lake. The town drains directly to that lake. And that lake seeks a certain elevation with the combination of the town's water and the off-site water. And so that red area that gets filled is the 45 acre feet of water that we were talking about. So in the post-development condition, that 45 acre feet of water that they're now filling in is required by the county and the South Florida Water Management District to be held on their upland property, the other 37 acres of land they have in the upland, not discharged to the lake. So what they're doing, they're saying, before I dump 45 acre feet of water into that lake, now I'm not gonna dump that 45 acre, I'm gonna hold it on my upland area, so I'm not putting that in the lake. So it's not really, the town is not really losing a volume of water in that.
Well, I'm not looking at losing the water. I'm looking at losing our storage. That's
They're
what.
not losing that storage volume of water because that water was being contributed to by the Trinity development before the lake was filled. Before the lake was filled, they were throwing 45 acres of their stormwater into the lake. Now they're holding back that 45 acres of stormwater on their upland areas, but they're filling in the red portion of the lake with sand, with dirt, whatever their fill material is, up to 4. So when they fill it in, they lose 45 acres of storage that the town and Trinity shared. But now, as a part of their license that was issued by the county and the ERP by the state, they're required to hold 45 acres of water back on their upland area, on that 37 acres of their upland area that doesn't exist right now. Right now, it just all goes into the lake. But now, as a part of the permit, they have to build this berm that we talked about all around the lake edge, so that their upland area holds 45 acres of water before it goes into the lake. So that's why I'm saying that I'm in total agreement with Todd that we're not, the way the operation, but the way that it's permitted right now and the way they permitted through the county and the state, they are saying, I am not negatively impacting the elevations in the lake that the pumps are seeing, because in lieu of the 45 acres that I'm filling, I'm holding back 45 acres, so I'm not negatively affecting the impact on the lake.
No, but they're not the only one draining into that lake. That's what we're trying to get across here.
Right, and that's why the town ordinance requires those analysis.
Right, and that's the.
It's not what the county or the state are interested in, and we, as a town, do not necessarily own the rights on their portions of the lake that are not easements. In
However, we do drain
In
down
the
that.
negotiation, when we built the pump station, we got them to give us those easements, what we could get.
Mhm.
Every inch we could get. We wanted the whole lake,
Mm-hmm.
but we could never get the whole lake. And we took everything we could get. But our rights are limited to those sections plus the sections that we own and the sections, if there's sections there that say apartments owned or any of the other adjacent land zone. Those are ours to use, but they need to do a study that shows who is entitled to what percentage of that lake flow, how much that is, and account that is not lost.
That it's not lost in the effects of
Filling the lake, yeah.
overfilling.
Right, because the is designed to minimize the damages to the drainage system, including outside, because the mobile home park lakes to the east, all three of those lakes have direct connection to that lake.
Yes, they do.
We know that.
And
That's why I'm.
if that lake rises, you have to close that valve on the big lake so that the water doesn't run the wrong way. Because if you're running that up to an elevation of 4.8, was it? 4.5, whatever it is,
4.8's on the upland side, if there's not on the lake side. Right?
you're higher than Park Road.
Okay. In the situation that this is theory and maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. What if it doesn't work? Where does that leave all the industry and all these mobile homes?
Flooded.
Yeah, but what the consequences are economical here. I have myself lost 2 cars to flooding, and I know a lot of my neighbors have had a lot of damage to their property, and I think this is going to make it worse.
Right. And again, back to what the town ordinance requires. So they require that the study that Todd has mentioned here, as far as the other surrounding.
Number one is the key. It says,
Right.
not adversely impact the town's overall stormwater management system set forth in the town's adopted stormwater master plan.
And they have to supply us. They have to supply us with a study that states exactly that.
Shows
Right.
that, and
Right.
Yeah, I think this issue is so.
post-development, not just to get a fill permit. We want to see what they plan on building and how that's going to have an effect. We need the whole scenario, not just the little piece at the front.
And any other properties that are draining to the lake.
Because otherwise you end up with developers.
Do we need to put a stop and desist order
Turn around
on
and sell it.
on the county's permit?
I think this issue is so big that we need to have a special meeting just covering this issue because we're holding a lot of other issues back.
Yeah, no, we just wanted to introduce the item so that everyone's aware and on the same page and knowing that this is what's going on. And to give you a kind of a background on what is happening, what has happened in the past, what we've done in the past, and also to give them direction on moving forward so that we can kind of get these answers that we need.
That's correct. The reason why this was brought up, I believe several of the commissioners got the Broward County notice. And then I was,
Yeah, after it happened, we couldn't. We got it when the deadline had passed, so we couldn't even protest or anything.
so, and then when I started looking into it and I got the permit application and it was sent up to my office, then I brought it to the mayor's attention, and that's why it's on the agenda. As explained before, it's a dynamic process. But it's a process that the town has dealt with before, where you do a groundwater analysis, a complete hydraulic study, ensuring that there's no impact to your stormwater system, meaning your groundwater, your surface water, your exfiltration, your wells, everything. That's why I say it's a complex, dynamic process. And until the developer can prove that to the town, I believe that's the point I'm trying to convey here. There's a lot of things that we have to look at.
Well, they haven't approached us with anything yet.
I have the application.
Oh, you did get an application?
I have the application for the lake
Okay.
filling, so that's why I'm bringing it up.
So you will pass this information on to them?
It would, this, yes.
Okay, and we're gonna move the process along of getting someone to kind of come in and, like we did before with HPCI, or somebody to do the geotechnical
Really a
study.
hydraulic analysis, yeah.
Okay, that's what,
Presently, we're gonna ask the developer to produce theirs, and we will look at it. We'll get somebody to review it on our.
Well, they have to do that.
And they will, and one point I'd like to bring up, the last time this came up, the town actually paid $148,000. So it's not cheap.
Yeah.
And that's about 6 years ago. So if you translate it in today's dollars, you're looking at well over 200,000 to 300,000.
Well, this is their responsibility
Exactly.
to do this and make sure that they satisfy our
I think
requirements.
the burden of proof is on the developer, not on us.
Certainly.
So.
yeah.
All
Okay.
right.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Alim, is that everyone that's hourly back there?
Yeah.
Thank you, gentlemen. I have to make sure, you know. Okay. All right, since most of the other stuff here, now that I can,
Good with you. 8-2.
I'm gonna go back,
Eight
you want a
point-
break? All right, we're gonna take a 5-minute recess. 5-minute recess. Don't give me that look. Todd, don't run away. All right, Marlon, can you put that red and green picture back up for a second for me? I just wanna ask Todd a question about this.
Ready.
Okay. Meeting resumed at 9:03. 7.1, approval of minutes. Does anyone have any questions? Nope, then I'll entertain a motion to adopt the minutes.
I'll make a motion to adopt the minutes.
I'll second it.
Okay, any discussion? Nope, roll call.
Sorry, motion made by Clerk Commissioner Hodgkins, seconded by Acting Clerk Commissioner Kashem. Mayor Mohammed,
Yes.
Acting Clerk Commissioner Kashem,
Yes.
Clerk Commissioner Hodgkins,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Morset.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
You can tell it's getting late.
We passed our bedtime.
We're gonna move it along real quick, hopefully. All right, 8.2, resolution number 2023-10, that's the resolution of the Town Commissioner of the Town of Pembroke Park approving and authorizing the participation in the launching of the Youth Rehabilitation Program in Paris, sponsored by, you say it, because I can't say it.
Family Jevu.
Okay, he got it. From September 15th to October 9th. Finding a public and municipal purpose associated with participating in a project. So this is a program in France where they have invited us to come out to learn about the program and how they're doing programs to rehabilitate youth offenders and reincorporate them into society. The program has been very successful. This is their 5th year, and we've been invited. And so I just want a resolution of support supporting the project and us attending. And there's no cost to the city. So with that being said, I'll entertain a motion.
Say the financial part of it again.
0. We're bearing the cost ourselves.
We're bearing the cost. You're bearing the cost.
I'm bearing my cost, he's bearing his cost.
Oh, yeah.
My plan
Okay, okay, sounds
There's
good.
no cost to the city.
I make a motion to approve resolution number 2023-010.
Second it.
We're allowed to vote on our resolution supporting us even though there's no
You're
financial.
supporting the project.
Exactly. Okay, just want to make sure, putting it on the record. Okay, roll call.
Motion made by Clerk Commissioner Hodgkins, seconded by Acting Clerk Commissioner Kashem. Acting Clerk Commissioner Kashem,
Yes.
Yes.
Clerk Commissioner Hodgkins.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Morset,
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you. 8.3, town hall hardening roof replacement bid award.
May I, Mayor, before the Public Works Director, if I could read the title into the record, please?
Okay.
And for the record, 8.3 is Resolution 2023-011, a resolution of the Town Commission, the Town of Pembroke Park, Florida, approving and authorizing the proper town officials to execute the agreement between the town and Total Roofing Systems. They are the Metal Roof Experts Incorporated. Attached here to is Exhibit A, incorporated herein, waiving any irregularities in the proposals submitted by Total Roofing Systems and finding an award to Total Roofing Systems to be in the best interest of the town, authorizing the town manager to make certain non-substantial changes to the agreement, providing for conflict, severability, and effective date. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. So this is basically for the roof replacement. This is being paid for by HMPG grant and,
HMGP. That's
oh,
correct.
sorry. Wait, I said, what did I?
HMGP.
Okay.
Hazard Mitigation Grant Program.
Okay. And this is 100% funded by the grant?
No.
How much is it?
How much? It's about 90,000 that we.
Oh, yeah.
90,000.
That's a rock concert here.
90,000 that we get from the grant.
Okay.
My recommendation would be to take the remainder out of ARPA.
We do the speakers.
Correct.
All right.
That sounds like a plan, and it's for a total of 199, right?
That's correct.
I didn't see any specs on that, on the roof itself.
No, but that's, remember when you worked on it with
Yep.
the TPO? That's it.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh,
it's a
okay.
complete brand new TPO system, replacing the asphalt that we have on the existing roof right now, and installing a brand new TPO system. Of
Okay.
course, with all the engineering and all the analysis with the building permit that is gonna be put.
Okay, thank you.
It should be noted that we received 5 bids. This is the second low bidder. The lowest bidder was deemed unresponsive because the information that they were missing was substantial enough, like the engineering, for example.
Correct.
It was missing from their bid, and we're afraid if we enter into that, it would be a change order and a change order.
I
And
got you. Yeah.
So if there are no questions, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve a resolution number 2023-011.
I second.
Any further discussion? Nope. Roll call.
Motion made by Clerk Commissioner Hodgkins, seconded by Vice Mayor Morset. Clerk Commissioner Hodgkins?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Morset?
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed?
Yes.
Acting Clerk Commissioner Kashem?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
8.4 CCNA contract addendums, Public Service Director Aleem, and resolution number 2023-12, resolution of the Town Commission of the Town of Pembroke Park, Florida, approving and authorizing the proper town officials to execute the amendments to the town CCNA continuing services agreements with Ingenuity, Connect Engineering, HSQ, Carnahan, Proctor and Cross, Kimley Horn and Associates, and Craig A. Smith and Associates attached hereto as Exhibits A through F respectively, authorizing the town manager to approve additional non-substantial changes as may be accepted to the town manager and approved by the town attorney, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. So basically, this is just a change order for all of the contracts to add some legal language in there that was not in the past. There's no substantial changes to the contracts. It's just to add language so that the county will approve it for CCNA purposes.
Mayor, if I may, you said change order. I don't want anybody to think there's
Sorry.
going to be additional costs. It's an amendment to the contract to provide some language so that we can use these firms for our surtax projects.
Gotcha.
If there are no questions?
No.
Okay. So then I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve a resolution number 2023-012.
I second.
Roll call.
Motion made by Clerk Commissioner Hodgkins, seconded by Vice Mayor Morset. Vice Mayor Morset?
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed?
Yes.
Acting Clerk Commissioner Kashem?
Yes.
Clerk Commissioner Hodgkins?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you. Ordinances, second and final reading. Ordinance 9.1, ordinance number 2023-04, an ordinance of the Town Commission of the Town of Pembroke Park, Florida, amending Chapter 2 of the town's Code of Ordinances entitled Administration, amending Article 2 entitled Town Commission by creating Section 2-16 to be entitled Code of Conduct for Elected and Appointed Officials, establishing a code of conduct and decorum for elected and appointed town officials, repealing Resolution number 2020-090, adopted December 9, 2020, providing for codification, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. So everyone's aware that this is the code of conduct. We're just redoing it. I'm going to open it to the public. Does anyone from the public wish to speak on the matter? Nope. I close it from the public and bring it back before the commission. Any questions?
No.
Okay. Then I'll entertain a motion.
I'll
I
make a
entertain
motion
a-
to approve ordinance number 2023-004.
I second.
Roll call.
Motion made by Clerk Commissioner Hodgkins, seconded by Vice Mayor Morset. Mayor Mohammed?
Yes.
Acting Clerk Commissioner Kashem?
Yes.
Clerk Commissioner Hodgkins?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Morset?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Thank you. 9.2, ordinance number 2023-05, an ordinance of the Town of Pembroke Park, Florida, amending Chapter 2 of the town's Code of Ordinances entitled Administration, amending Article 2 entitled Town Commission by amending Division 3 entitled Meetings, amending and clarifying the procedure for calling specials and emergency meetings of the Town Commission, creating Section 2-43 to be entitled Parliamentary Procedures, establishing Robert's Rules of Procedure as the formal procedure for Town Commission meetings, creating Section 2-44 to be entitled Supplemental Town Commission Procedures, providing additional procedures for conducting meetings of the Town Commission, providing for codification, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. I open it to the public. Does anyone from the public wish to talk about this? Nope. I close it. Bring it back before the commission. Any questions?
No.
Then I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 2023-005.
I second.
Roll call.
Motion made by Clerk Commissioner Hodgkins, seconded by Vice Mayor Morset. Acting Clerk Commissioner Kashem?
Yes.
Clerk Commissioner Hodgkins?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Morset?
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed?
Yes, that was
Motion
second.
passes 4-0.
That was second reading, correct?
That was second. All of them tonight are second reading.
Okay. Just want to make sure. All right, 9.3, ordinance number 2023-07, an ordinance of the town of Pembroke Park, Florida, amending chapter 19 of the town's code of ordinances entitled Personnel, amending article 1 entitled In General by creating section 19-1 to be entitled Adoption of Personnel Policies and Procedures Manual, adopting and incorporating the town's personnel policies and procedures manuals by reference in the town's code of ordinances, deleting conflicting provisions of chapter 19 of the town code, providing for codification, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date. I open a public hearing. Does anyone from the public wish to speak? Nope. Close it. Does anyone have any questions for the HR director? If not, we're going to entertain a motion to adopt it.
No?
Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to adopt the ordinance number 2023-007.
5.
Yes, you're
No, 7. 7.
Oh,
Oh,
that's second reading, sorry. I can second that.
He's old.
Roll call.
Antique.
Motion made by Clerk Commissioner Hodgkins, seconded by Vice Mayor Morset. Clerk Commissioner Hodgkins.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Morset.
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed.
Yes.
Acting Clerk Commissioner Kashem.
yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Okay, item 10.1, surplus equipment, Alim. Basically what this is we have a lot of old town equipment that has to be disposed of, and the government rules require that we actually surplus them out. So it's just to approve the list and get it moving out of City Hall so we can get rid of this junk. Any questions?
One tractor, correct?
Yeah, it's exactly the Massey Ferguson bush hog tractor. It was purchased in 1999 at a cost of $12,320.
I thought you had more stuff to surplus. You didn't get around to those yet? Okay.
I so wish I had space for it back home.
Okay.
So I could buy it.
Actually, we put it up for sale on the government website. We normally get back, some
Something, yeah.
salvage value on it.
Some kind of salvage value. Okay, so can we have a motion to
Make it
surplus the
Yeah.
truck, the crane?
Motion to approve the sale of the surplus equipment.
Second.
Roll call.
Motion made by Vice Mayor Morset, seconded by Clerk Commissioner Hodgkins. Vice Mayor Morset.
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed.
Yes.
Acting Clerk Commissioner Kashem.
Yes.
Clerk Commissioner Hodgkins.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Goodbye,
So
Mr.
now,
Ferguson.
Alim, I am going to turn this over to you, but you saw how fast we went through like five motions? Okay, so we're going to stick to that, okay? Okay. 10.2, portable pump repair, emergency repairs.
This item actually is for the emergency repair of the bamboo pump station. We just saw a presentation on the groundwater system on the lake. In my conversation with Commissioner Hodgkins, who actually brought it to my attention that I had the authority to take it and send it to emergency repairs, which I did. And I'm bringing this item before the commission because the pump is actually in for repairs right now. They're taking it apart to let me know the diagnosis on the pump, and there's a replacement pump there right now. So this item is actually for doing a replacement pump, emergency replacement pump, and the repairs to the existing pump that was pulled out.
Okay, so you need a motion for 21,546? So,
Approving that amount, yes.
okay, so
I can entertain a motion to approve the repair of the portable pump.
I'll second. And I'd like to add to that, we're going to hold their feet to the fire a little bit this time before they bring it back. We've had it out to them before, and it seems like it doesn't get fixed completely. Something always seems to go wrong with it. This time we're going to hold their feet to the fire, make sure it's in real good condition before it comes back.
We did.
Do we know what killed the pump? I mean, there was something that it was pumping and couldn't get rid of the water.
Couldn't get it started.
Yeah, from what the guys told me, the suction line had some debris in it, and the pump actually had some issues with the cylinders not firing or misfiring. So those are some of the issues that we had initially when we put.
Isn't that a beautiful tractor? It's red.
okay, so we do the roll call.
Yeah.
Motion made by Vice Mayor Morset, seconded by Clerk Commissioner Hodgkins. Mayor Mohammed,
Yes.
Acting Clerk Commissioner Kashem,
Yes.
Clerk Commissioner Hodgkins.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Morset.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. 10.3, emergency debris removal contract renewal.
This item is actually renewing the contract for 4 emergency debris removal contractors that the town has. Presently, we are exercising the first 1-year option of renewal, and this is the last year for renewal. And I'd just like to read the 4 companies that we have on file. It's Cirrus Environmental Services, Custom Tree Care, DRC Emergency Services, and TRF Environment.
TFR.
TFR, sorry, Environment Enterprises. These companies are the emergency debris management companies that handle all the town's debris in case of any emergencies, hurricanes. This renewal is valid until September 30th of next fiscal year or next year. And this is just to keep us compliant in case we have any emergencies. We can actually exercise these contracts.
I'll entertain a motion to renew the disaster debris removal companies.
I'll make a motion to approve 10.3 emergency debris removal contract renewals.
I second.
Roll call.
Motion made by Clerk Commissioner Hodgkins, seconded by Vice Mayor Morset. Acting Clerk Commissioner Kashem,
Yes.
Clerk Commissioner Hodgkins,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Morset,
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Okay, thank you. 10.4, Southwest 30th Avenue, septic to sewer. This is for discussion. Go ahead, Aline.
Correct. This item is before you because the town actually received an application for development on a vacant property along Southwest 30th Avenue for a proposed 10-story building, which is also mixed use. Presently, there's no sanitary system or sanitary sewer system that is there for the developer to connect to. What this item is actually proposing the engineering for a complete sanitary system, meaning a gravity sanitary system and a pump station that will ultimately pump to one of our force mains and then to the city of Hollywood. So what this item is actually addressing is both the economic needs along the corridor, the developmental needs, and a septic to sewer, water quality needs of the town. So we are going to be addressing all 3 or 4 of these items if this item is approved.
And this will have the capacity for this new development.
Correct.
Why? How much are they paying towards it?
They have not been assessed any fees towards it as yet.
Right now, what we're looking at doing is designing it and then having the discussion as to how we're gonna pay for it, excuse me, once it's designed.
Well, if it's my understanding, they're the ones who want to build there. We want to welcome that, but we also want to have them involved in the cost of doing this. I mean,
I'm going to stop you for 1 second. Okay, so the thing is with the septic to sewer program, it's a very expensive cost. It's something that we were looking at before. Right now, the design alone for this is $400,000.
right.
There's options that the county has a program that they've been working on. We can also ask our grant writers to look into what the state programs are available for it because it's been an initiative of the governor to go septic to sewer. And the other option is putting a special assessment there. So those are pretty much the options that we can currently look to utilize because it is a huge chunk with just design being 400 and probably costs are going to be what, 2-3 million?
Well over $2 million.
Wasn't there also some federal or environment, the new Build Back Better program?
I'm in communication with our grant writers. Both FDEP, which is the environmental arm of the state, do have some funding available that we are going to be applying for. And there's another pot of money through Broward County as well for septic to sewer program. We're also going to be looking at that as well. So there are options available. If the grant funding is not obtained, then there's another option of actually assessing a separate fee or a user fee for the customers on the system.
Don't we have a fund ourselves for,
The sanitary,
yeah,
Yes, we have our sewer fund.
Yeah.
In which people pay into. However, this project like this would deplete.
It would wipe it
It
out.
would totally deplete it and we wouldn't have any reserves for anything.
okay.
Yeah, so I think today we just need to give direction to staff to look at finding sources and applying for whatever grants that can be utilized to cover this cost and have them come back to us with some answers. And, you know, if we choose to move forward with this in the future, probably assessing a special assessment if we cannot find outside funding sources for this.
correct.
To add to what the mayor was saying, this will allow us to have a shovel-ready project. And when you have a shovel-ready project, it's much more favorable to get grant funding.
Okay. Well, want to entertain a motion?
I don't think they need a motion for direction. Do
There's consensus?
you want to, okay. So a motion directing staff to look at covering the cost.
Hold on a second. Is this approving the actual, the design fees?
The design, if they see it fit to move forward, yes.
If that's the intent. If it's actually approved, that would take a motion.
That would require a motion to approve the design
The
fees.
$400,000, do we have it budgeted?
No, that's not budgeted.
So if you're looking at alternative sources of funding, then we could locate those and come back to the commission.
This would come out of the sewer fund reserves.
Okay.
But it would wipe out the sewer fund.
The design is but it's 400,000. But that won't wipe us out. That it won't even come close to wiping us out. If we do the project, which is probably around 3 to 4 million, that is where we'll have
Yeah, that's
trouble.
what I'm concerned.
Yeah, but there's an impact
Can we
fee to
use
the-
surtax money?
I'd have to check on that. Usually the surtax monies already have a project assigned to it and they've gone through
But
the
they
process.
have been using surtax for the design phase, so.
No, but I think we can still use I have to double check, but I think we can use ARPA as well for this. But
Can y'all check to see if we can use ARPA for this?
I'm pretty sure we can. I'm 99% certain we can because the community of our size and the amount that we got, it's,
We have like carte blanche
yeah,
use.
pretty much.
Can we bring this back for discussion?
You want us to bring this back? Okay,
Want
that's
to bring
fine.
it back for discussion? Till we get more facts.
That's fine. And I'll bring you the information as far as ARPA.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. Okay, stay up there. You know we got more.
You got more.
10 Point Valley Southwest 52nd Avenue inflow and infiltration.
Yeah.
We have a presentation on this one? Okay.
This is actually connected to the sinkhole that was on 52nd Avenue. This was recently repaired. The town actually paid like $91,000 to get everything repaired and actually restore the roadway. There is an actual,
There's a presentation.
just the two,
Alim, while you're looking at that, when I first brought this repair to you guys, when they did the inspection, there was a sewer lateral that when we tried to repair it previously, they found that was leaking, and so they lined it. Unfortunately, what happened there is that there's a little gap from where the liner meets there's a little gap there where it's not lined. And it's gushing water in, and that needs, now another section needs to be lined. It does not require us to dig up the roadway or do anything like that. They just sleeve it through the lateral. And Alim has the price there.
Okay.
Why aren't they doing that? Because they should have done it to begin with.
Well, when it was lined before, it was a different company that did that. It was a company that Rickman that was used, I don't know, 2-3 years ago, and that little gap was left. It's just the way that the technology was. It just reaches the end, but it doesn't cover to the end.
I just want to show you do the first one. Okay, if you look at the actual, this is the actual camera in the sanitary system, and if you could see, notice the water that is pouring out of the joint. These are old clay pipes, which is your sanitary pipes.
Right.
And you actually see the water coming in.
It's clean.
Yeah, that clean water is actually groundwater. And the town actually pays $3.25 per 1,000 gallons to treat that water. So,
Fort Lauderdale made that leak.
so with the present rates that we are paying, we could actually fix the leak. If we fix the leak, it's gonna cost us about, right now, the proposal that I got is actually 13,000, but the manager just talked about the two laterals that are tied into it as well. Those two laterals are gonna cost $6,800. So we're looking at a total of about $19,600.
That's
To take care of that, yeah.
And then that's gonna bring that $100,000 a month water bill to Hollywood down?
It's gonna bring down your water,
or sewage bill.
Your sewage treatment
Yeah.
charge.
correct.
We'll subtract that $8 from the $2 million that it's costing us.
I know, I was signing checks the other day and I saw 100,000 to Hollywood for treatment. I'm like, treatment of what? And that was per month. Yeah, okay, so I will entertain a motion for Southwest 52nd Avenue to fix the inflow infrastructure for an amount not to exceed 20,000.
I second it.
Yeah, that's fine.
You made the motion, Musfika? Yes?
Yes.
Okay, hey. Who's gonna second it?
I'll second.
Roll call. I know, I feel like
Did
I'm
you make the-
telling people.
Motion made by
She's made it. I don't know what
Acting Clerk Commissioner Kasham, seconded by Clerk Commissioner Hodgkins. Clerk Commissioner Hodgkins,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Morset,
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed,
Yes.
Acting Clerk Commissioner Kasham.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
10.6, piggyback contract for storm drain cleaning, Enviro Waste, and Johnson Environmentals.
Correct. Actually, the town has what is called an federal clean water permit, which is the NPDES permit. As part of this permit, the town actually has to clean all the drains and all the pipes. This is for your storm drainage system. What this contract actually approves is for us to go out and start the cleaning of your system because of your permit conditions or compliance for your permit. So this will actually help us. There's two companies that I'm putting on the agenda. The reason being that sometimes you call one company and they do not respond. And we will also get better pricing when we have two companies that is approved. So that's the reason why I have two companies on the agenda for approval.
Good thinking.
If you guys recall, at the last meeting, there was another company that we also had that also provided this. This will give us a total of 3 companies that we can, call in case of emergencies.
Good thinking.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve 10.6.
I second.
Roll call.
Motion made by Clerk Commissioner Hodgkins, seconded by Vice Mayor Morset. Vice Mayor Morset,
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed,
Yes.
Acting Clerk Commissioner Kasham,
Yes.
Clerk Commissioner Hodgkins.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
10.8, temporary salary adjustment.
Evening, Mayor and Commissioners, Babette Friedman, HR Director. Hold on one second. The item before you is to do a temporary salary adjustment for Ismael Flores. As you all know, we've had some turnover in our sewer department. So we've lost our superintendent and one of our maintenance workers. Ismael currently works in the Parks Department, but over the years, since 2015, he's helped graciously for the sewer department. So myself and Public Services Director has appointed him as the acting superintendent. In the town, this position has been hourly. We're moving it to a salary position, and we're requesting to increase the salary from $58,579 to $62,400. This is still less than we were paying the previous superintendent, so there is a savings. We will assess this position further once the new Deputy Public Services Director starts. Any questions?
Any questions?
Do you have any questions on this?
No.
No.
Okay. I am gonna I'm gonna hijack your title just because there's a couple of other salaries we do need to adjust. And I don't know if you were planning on doing it with your police contract or even if you're aware. Okay. We have a couple of officers who are acting as sergeants. Am I saying it right? You could tell me. Yes, I'm saying it right. We have folks that are acting.
You're acting.
Okay. So I want to also do a salary adjustment for them so that they're getting their acting salary for those
Right,
positions.
we have to wait on that because since we do have a union that's coming in place, we have to discuss it with our labor attorney, and so we have a call pending before we can move forward because we're supposed to stay status quo until the union is in place. And as of right now, since they're still in the works, we have to have that discussion per our interim town attorney.
Our labor attorney has indicated, the one that's helping us with the union, has indicated you guys got to maintain status quo once we were notified that a union was coming. We have to have a conversation regarding these interim positions because when I mentioned it to him, he's like, hold on a second, I need more information. And so I'm setting that up. That's when you're getting notice that you're going to start a union.
What kind of union delegate is that? Oh
No,
my
it's-
gosh.
Union delegate, no, that's our attorney.
Their shop steward is basic.
That's our attorney, our
Our
labor
labor
attorney.
attorney is saying that we need to, so
Just hold on.
let me ask you a question, or you can refer this to them. So if we hired a new sergeant, would they be getting paid the police salary, or would they be getting paid the sergeant salary?
If you hire somebody from, as a sergeant, my understanding is you can do that. But as far as promotional activities or anything that is collectively bargained, could be collectively bargained, you need to be careful, or you have to have a, what do they call that?
When a union is formed prior to the execution of the first collective bargaining agreement, there's a requirement under Florida law that you maintain the status quo when it comes to wages, benefits, and working conditions. So whatever the status quo was at the time of formation, that would remain until that first collective bargaining agreement was executed.
So what happens for promotions?
A new hire would come in essentially with a clean slate, as the manager indicated. But as JC said, we have a call scheduled with our labor council.
Okay.
So we would just suggest deferring any action as you're discussing now until we've had the benefit of that call and the benefit of the input from our labor council. The other thing is part of those negotiations, we had a closed door session earlier this evening for litigation purposes. There also is the opportunity to have a closed door session with the commission and your labor council specifically for collective bargaining issues. So there may be a need at a future moment to have that privileged session as well. But in the interim, until we have the opportunity to speak with David Miller, who's our labor counsel in the context of bargaining, I think the recommendation would be to hold off on any adjustments to wages, benefits, and working conditions until that conversation's occurred.
I am not opposed to this. I understand the need, but I don't want to jeopardize the town's, expose the town to any potential liability or something as it relates to this. So I want to get the answers first. And then come back. Now, if you want to say, okay, if he says, okay, let's do something, then I'll do
Yeah,
that.
because I mean, these gentlemen are, they've been working that position for a while now, if I'm not mistaken. And I mean, I'm a union baby. I mean, in CWA 1109, my mom was a shop steward for 30 years. That's why I'm finding this to be like a little,
But this is
a little odd that you have somebody in a position that's currently doing the job, which is an increase in job function and responsibility, and not paying them for what they're actually doing. So that's why I asked that, and then I'm going to ask that in the meantime, when you do follow up with them, I know she has something she wants to add, but when you do follow up with them, I'd like to have the ability for her to do promotions if a promotion would entitle them to get that current salary. B, if a new hire came in, what would that salary be? And I just kind of want to make sure that we're being fair to all parties involved.
No, we have the salary ranges and all that, but it's just a matter of the promotion and basically it's the promotional process.
Okay, well then I want to make sure that she has the authority to do promotions internally, as well as that versus like doing interns, because they are going to be on probation anyway. So if they're going to be on probation and they're already currently working in that thing, how are we addressing the fact that they've been acting for 6 months and probation is 6 months or whatever? Does that time actually count towards that? Does the time that they were acting short shorten the time of promotion.
I'm not sure anybody was acting for 6 months at this
I'm not sure what the timeline is, but
Okay,
like
okay.
I'm just kind of
I-
going a general roundabout.
understand.
So
I'll
that's
get-
what I want to make sure that all of those questions are asked, and then you guys can get back to me.
We'll get those answers
Okay.
as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I'm gonna let her come up too, because I know she has. I know she was. I'm sorry, I sidetracked you. I didn't. Okay, come on now.
Everybody, Honorable Mayor and Commissioner Rashana Dabney Donovan, Acting Interim Chief for the Police Department. So I believe what you are speaking of is we have 2 police officers who in February of this year were placed in an acting position by former Chief David Howard. So in that acting position, there was a question as to whether or not they should be getting paid the 10% salary increase because they have been in acting positions since February. So that's, I believe that's what you are referring to, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
At that point, I'd have to check with the labor attorney to see when we were notified about the union, when that moratorium or that, status quo period started. I'll see if that was before or after. And I can get that answer pretty clearly. So
Okay. So,
let me have the
I just wanna put on
conversation.
the record, if I may, according to our president, Officer Dodge, he stated that since we do not have a union, that we can move forward with whatever changes that we need to make, especially if it's going to be changes that when you're looking at assessing staffing needs, it's going to save the town from possible liabilities, meaning if there are staffing shortages and you have lots of overtime, you have people that are consistently working tons of hours, when you have situations where officers who are consistently placed in dangerous situations, and instead of being short, you know what I'm saying?
I understand. No, I
We wanna
completely
make sure
understand.
that staffing needs are where they need to be so that people don't place the town in a liable situation.
I completely understand and I can appreciate that. I'm going based on what I was told by our labor attorney and the perk order that came in establishing the union, or letting us know that the union was establishing. I'm just following the rules. I will check with them and get
and you
those
have
in.
my questions that I
Have your
want
questions.
answered, because I want to know if I want to know if basically the probationary time period is shortened if they're already acting in that position for however long. If they were to be permanently promoted, would they be entitled to their raise?
Back pay?
Back pay. If they are, if they're going to stay acting as interim, would they be entitled to that money, and based on whether the time frame, whatever, if you want to check the time frame thing out. But
Okay.
I want to make sure, because they're working, and I don't want us to get in a situation where we're on the hook for back pay or anything else. I just want to make sure that our employees are covered.
I was not aware that since February that there was this situation going on. I wasn't really certain of that. Which ones?
Yes.
Yeah, we need to make this right.
That were signed off on, Mark Vertifay and Eugene Mobley.
They were not sent to HR or the town manager for approval. I'm not sure how the process went, but we were not made aware of any of that, so.
Okay, well, we're gonna rectify that right now with, you'll send out an email letting them know that these gentlemen have been in the acting position and filling those vacancies since February.
Resend the form that I completed back then.
Okay.
Yes.
And I signed it.
Yes.
And I don't know why it wasn't processed.
I never received.
It was processed as an hourly rate. I think, if I'm not mistaken. I'm sorry, Sean.
I'm closer.
I can hear you.
I'm sorry, it was processed as an hourly rate. So for instance, and if Director Brown can back me up, they get 1 hour of overtime per shift that they work, correct? Yeah, so in their acting positions on the form, it was 1 hour per shift that they work. In speaking to Officer Dodge, again, he stated that, it would probably be beneficial if the town had a policy that would include the 10% increase, which it does, that would be a better offer. So I did send an email making that request.
Okay.
I don't know. I know everyone's busy. I understand we all.
Then that was clearly approved prior, and I mean, I signed it and I thought it was gonna be taken care of, but I didn't know there was the discrepancy at this point. So what we can do is make that 10% adjustment for those two employees immediately. I wanna make sure they get it taken care of.
Okay. Okay, I appreciate that. I'm sorry I hijacked your item. I just kind of, I know this was in my head for a while that I had heard about it and I wanted to bring it up. So with that being said, I know we need a motion for Flores. Do we also need a motion for the police department?
No.
Based on this discussion, we'll take that as consensus to work with Labor Council to implement the commission's direction.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so but you do need a motion for Flores?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll entertain a motion for Flores to receive the temporary salary adjustment. Somebody make the motion for me?
I entertain a motion 10.8 temporary salary adjustment.
Who's going to second?
I second.
Okay, thank you. Roll call.
Motion made by Acting Clerk Commissioner Kasham, seconded by Vice Mayor Morset. Mayor Mohammed.
Yes.
Acting Clerk Commissioner Kasham.
Yes.
Clerk Commissioner Hodgkins.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Morset.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0.
Okay, thank you. 10.9, appointing Rashana Dobney Donovan as interim chief of police. Vice Mayor?
We still have 12.3. Sorry.
10.3?
12.3?
I'm still in 10. I didn't get to 11 or 12.
Oh, sorry. I'm all confused. I apologize. Where are we at now?
10.9.
You're tired, that's all right.
I was trying, listen, I got 5 motions done in like 5 minutes, okay? And then y'all just slowed me down.
Yeah, this is to make it formal that Rashana Dabney Donovan is full interim chief because was only administration before.
Okay.
Do we have a union issue with this one? No. Good.
Okay, so then I'll entertain a motion to appoint her as interim police chief.
I'll make the motion. 10.9, appointing Rashana Dabney Donovan as interim chief of police for the town of Pembroke Park.
And I second.
Roll call.
Motion made by Clerk Commissioner Hodgkins, seconded by Vice Mayor Morset. Acting Clerk Commissioner Kashem.
Yes.
Clerk Commissioner Hodgkins.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Morset.
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed.
Yes.
Motion
Thank you.
passes 4-0.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
We have every confidence in you.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
He stole my words.
Okay.
Always.
Number 11, old business. There is none. We are now up to 12.3. Oh, we're getting almost down to the end.
Salim.
Yes.
So
This
we
item actually is an item that I brought forward because of the condition of the chamber and actually for all the commissioners to see, take a look at the crack that has actually occurred because of the tree next door. And to give me direction actually on moving forward to complete the renovation of the chamber.
Sounds reasonable. You sure?
I looked into this just for your own information. I looked into this and the decision was basically come up that we're going to cut the tree roots out there. We're going to dig them out, cut the roots, and we're going to fill this with epoxy. And that's it.
Shove a carpet on
You
top.
sure this is not a fault line, like a
that.
political fault line or something like that?
Actually, it's not.
Oh, okay.
No, it needs to go that way.
We could fix there.
We were going to level the floor, but we have to crawl through
Order.
that door over there.
Point of order.
Okay, so the direction of the commission is to cut the limb, fill it with epoxy, and throw a carpet on top?
That's correct.
Okay.
With the root barrier.
Correct. The estimate that we got, or the cost that we got for the chamber is not to exceed a $24,000 amount. So I'll use that. The cost for the tree cutting and the root removal is gonna be additional.
How much?
I'll get you a cost and I'll let you.
You're not gonna do it? You guys can't do it?
We can actually dig the trench, but the cutting and the root barrier and stuff, I'll bring a professional in to do that.
Yeah, make sure it's a licensed arborist or whatever.
Licensed arborist.
Thank you.
Attorney, because we had approved it under 24,000 before we had this unforeseen godly act.
If you need to increase the previously approved amount, that's certainly an option, or the director can bring back an estimated cost for the removal, which is what he indicated is also a possibility.
We on vacation.
If the commission wanted to approve an additional allocation to remove the tree, that would certainly be appropriate.
Okay.
The roots.
The roots, I'm sorry.
The roots, yeah.
Get to the root of the problem.
I don't know. Do we have a general idea not to exceed amount, or like how are we handling this? Because I mean, I know where our procurement threshold is 25,000, but I know that Code 3 would not be the company doing this. This would be some kind of tree person, arborist, whatever. So that's why I'm leaning towards you more so for direction.
Again, the commission can certainly approve an estimate if the manager and your professional staff go out and do their due diligence in the context of procurement, and it turns out that that estimate is short. That can always be brought back to the commission for subsequent ratification.
Okay. So, Aline, what are you thinking? How much? 10,000?
I would think around 10,000 and, not to exceed 10,000.
Okay. So I'll entertain a motion.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve the tree work not to exceed 10,000.
I second it.
Okay.
You beat me to it.
Roll call.
Motion made by Clerk Commissioner Hodgkins, seconded by Acting Clerk Commissioner Kasham. Clerk Commissioner Hodgkins.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Morissette.
Yes.
Mayor Mohammed.
Yes.
Acting Clerk Commissioner Kasham.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0. This is why I got confused, because 12.4 is the
No.
police department.
Yeah, but you had two.
Let it go.
All right.
Listen, I don't understand why it can't just be one long. These little sections are kind of just get rid of the section titles and just. We're gonna work towards adopting an easier agenda item and just do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and call it a day.
I'm not allowed to,
Not.
because I have to have it on certain titles areas. Like first reading, second reading, resolutions,
Yeah,
ordinances.
but that's just resolution and ordinances. Everything else is just stuff.
Okay.
All right. 12.4 Police Department discussion items. Vice Mayor Morissette.
Yes, the purpose with this discussion is to find ways where we can speed up the process of hiring. I got good news from Human Resource that there's a lot of good candidates on the way, but to have a better cooperation between the police department and the Human Resource Department on the hiring process, and also to express confidence in the future of our police department, that we are past the worst bumps in the road now, and we are moving fast in the right direction. I would like to hear your input, if you have any.
Regarding the statement that we're past the rough bumps.
Well, we're going in the right direction.
I wouldn't touch that.
We have faith in the process, what's going on now, and we need to come up with any ideas that we can to promote a well-functioning police department.
Of course. So the vision has always been to move the police department forward. Regardless of whether there are bumps in the road, trials and tribulations, I believe that if we work together, not just as an agency, but with town personnel, understanding each other, open communication, response times and meeting consistently, that if we understand one another, we can definitely get over whatever humps that may occur. In every agency, there are humps, whether you're talking about staffing or whether you're talking about internal humps. As long as we get over that and we work together, it's going to be an easier transition as opposed to one that breaks everything down. So I've personally been meeting with not only each individual officer, I've been meeting with the police department as a whole to share my vision and also to receive recommendations from them. I want to hear from them what their ideas have been, what they want to do in the future, how they see the police department going for themselves. And we're working collectively to transition, to make sure that we train people to become better police officers or train people, you know, in the positions that they want, to make sure that we're able to work together as a team, regardless of whether there are any internal nuances. We still have to have each other's backs. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's really been my main focus these last 8 weeks, is just to make sure that we're working together.
I'd like to see our police department to be a attractive place to work, and we can attract good people and have some stability. And as we talked about a little earlier, that we should have a little brainstorm together with the different departments and see what we can come up with. Any good ideas are welcome.
So I want to make sure that it's very well known that the police department is a unique entity. I understand that it's very new to the town of Pembroke Park. We have officers that have had years of experience from different agencies, and different agencies have been able to maneuver different types of issues very positively. So I also want to make sure that town personnel understand that the police department is a really unique function. In order to attract the candidates, we also have to make sure that things are very attractive, especially for this younger generation. Our pay is up to par. You know, our benefits are up to par. So we have to make sure that when we are going on our recruitment excursions, that we make sure that we're highlighting why this place is going to be a great place for them to work. The vision is also to make sure that we are one of the best agencies in Broward County. You know, we don't want to be known as, you know, the laughing stock of the county. We want to be known as a place that is stable, a place that, you know, everybody in the community can depend on, that the town personnel can depend on, a place where we're making our community safer, a place that we're establishing partnerships with businesses and with residences. So yes, we have the ability to do that. And I have every confidence that it's being done now, and it will continue to be done in the future.
My job here is also to make everybody understand that you are part of the town, and also financially, and we have to find the money for whatever wishes you have in your department. We have to find it first, and it has to be, you know, realistic. But we are hearing from the citizens out there. They're very pleased with your services, and that's a good sign.
Awesome.
These gentlemen are very unrestful down there. You want to say something? You just want to go home, right?
Go to sleep.
No, we appreciate all the hard work you've been doing in the community. We love the fact that you're showing up and making your presence known.
Thank you.
You guys are doing a good job, so we thank you for all your hard work, and we look forward to working with you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys.
Thank not just these three gentlemen. I believe that every member of our agency is a valued member of our agency. And I have faith and confidence that they will continue to show up for our community and continue to help grow our agency and move the agency forward.
And we very much appreciate if we can meet the rest of the staff. We only met part of your staff.
Correct.
So we're flexible like you are, and we'd like to meet them all.
Most definitely. I'll set that up. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else before I go through our reports? No? Okay. So attorney's reports?
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioner. I have nothing this evening.
Okay. Manager report?
Yes, Mayor. When the police department, the construction of the build-out started, the previous commission authorized me to take care of any change orders. As of this date, there was been one change order only, and that change order has been for the glass doors, because at that time, they were talking about bringing, having the entire first floor for the police department. I just got the second one back, the second change order in for the structural wall, the shoring of the structural wall inside there. That's been holding things up, and you haven't seen any activity. And I got that back, and I just wanted you to know that in order to keep this moving forward, especially during the duration, I need to sign it and proceed with that. It is for the shoring of the structural wall, the remobilization costs, and then that wall, that unforeseen, has extended the time for the construction. So the total change order there is $110,000. So I did want to let you know that that's coming. Between that one and the first one, which was
46,000 for the door.
And those are the only two. They told me that this is the last change order, and then
Could we do
done.
away with that last change order? $6,000 door?
we had already purchased it. So I did want to let you guys know that.
So we have 953,000, 46,000 for the door, and then you said how much? 100 and what?
110,000.
I didn't see the plan for the structural wall.
They did the shoring already. It's currently under shop drawing. The shop drawings are being reviewed right now.
So you want permission to?
No, I just want to. The previous commission had given me the authority to do this, but I do want you to. I did want to bring this up to you, so there's no surprises or anything.
We inherit certain things, I understand that.
Okay.
So $1.1 million for a build out with no furniture
That is correct.
for a sixth of a building. Wow. Okay.
Is that why he's not here?
But I just wanted to bring that to your attention, and that's all I have to report today.
Okay. All right, Commission, thank you. Thank you very much, JC. Have fun handling have fun steering the ship for the next 2 months. We are not going to be bothering you. We're going to let you do your thing, and don't bother us.
It's going to be 24 karat gold and everything in there.
Listen, I can get a nice house in Davie on an acre of land for that. Okay. Commissioner reports. Acting Clerk Commissioner Kashim, do you have anything?
No.
Clerk Commissioner Hodgkin?
No.
Vice Mayor?
Nope.
Okay. I do have an item. I know, I'm such a pain.
Bring it up.
It wasn't me, actually. A resident had called me. They were having an issue. I think it's 4600 Hollandale Beach Boulevard, and I just kind of wanted to direct staff to work with him on, they're having some issues with some 14-year-old air conditioners that they're,
Noisy?
no. There's new tenants in the building, and they're trying to find their air conditioning permits from 14 years ago before they were in the building. And so there's some issues.
Okay. Can you send me the address?
Yeah, I'll send you the information. Okay, appreciate it. And that is all I have. And I do want to thank staff. I do want to thank everyone who showed up at the Citizenship Drive, who volunteered their time and energy and efforts and did those intakes. I appreciate it. I do want to thank Roy for his hard work on the budget and getting it done. Me and you gonna have a talk in a minute afterward about this letter I got, just so you know. Babette, I do want to thank you for all your hard work and dedication to the town and what you do for HR. We appreciate all of our staff's hard work, and I definitely I want to commend, I do want to recognize Babette just because of the fact that she's been working above and beyond her title of HR director in doing events and just being an all-around workaholic for the town. And so I do appreciate you. I do thank you for all of your hard work, and I also want to apologize for the language that was used on this dais last month to our staff. To me, that never should have happened. Everybody's here to do a job. No one is here to be subjected to abuse or language or just any form of abuse. You're here to do a job. You're paid to do a job, and that's what you're here to do. And you're not here to basically deal with and be subjected to foul language, to be degraded, to be treated as anything other than a child of God, basically. And I apologize if, my reference is as offensive to some, but, I didn't appreciate it. And, and as someone sitting, I do not condone that behavior. And so I do want to apologize to all of our staff who have been subjected to that for the past months or years. You've been subjected to it. There's not a staff member who's been immune to it. And so I do want to just put that on the record that I am sorry, and I do hope that we can move forward in a positive direction. And I thank you for still being here.
Here.
I do appreciate all the staff members that have stayed and are still here sticking it out with us. We're hopefully going to improve the situation and move this town forward in a positive direction and serve the community. That's it for my comments.
Yeah, we have a fantastic team here now.
Okay, I'm going to do the announcements really quickly. 16.1, back to school giveaway. That's tentatively scheduled for Saturday, August 19th from 10 to 4. We have a special magistrate hearing scheduled for Wednesday, August 16th. We have the workshop commission meeting scheduled for August 23rd, and the first budget meeting September 13th, and the regular commission meeting for Wednesday, September 13th at 7. With that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned at 10:04.
You guys gonna miss one of the commission meeting when you guys in Paris?
No, he was.
Because we ain't trying to stay for 20 days.